These are 20 NFL players who completely ruined their careers, starting with a player who got cut from the team because of the worst fumble in NFL history.
Pressure comes, Bynes has got him, and he throws it away.
Gotta cradle that ball like a baby, not yeet it like your jealous baby mama did to your phone. But Tim Tebow left the NFL all because he went from a QB to tight end. And bro sucked ass and was never seen on the field again.
Cross the formation, still trying to pin it inside.
That was rough to watch, but not as rough as another player who ruined his NFL career all because of a dirty hit.
He was down on the ground and Burfict leads with his helmet and makes helmet-to-helmet contact.
You remember this head-to-head hit on tight end Jack Doyle. The player behind that hit, Oakland Raiders linebacker Vontaze Burfict, was kicked out of the game. Today, the NFL handed down a much harsher punishment. The league has suspended Burfict for the rest of the season. The NFL says Burfict is suspended without pay for the remaining 13 weeks of the season and any playoff games for repeated violations of unnecessary roughness rules.
Vontaze Burfict dished out CTE like a Hollywood clinic does Ozempic. But after getting suspended and fined thousands of dollars, Vontaze realized that the league got too soft and he left the NFL. But one player ended his career quicker than ice show speed in a race, all because he was throwing hands.
Now that Shiloh Sanders has been ejected, there's not a lot of defensive, there's injuries at the position anyways, but there's not a lot of guys active.
And the Bucks cut him the very next day, and bro was just lucky to even be on the team.
Y'all know I'm lucky to even get a shot. You know, seeing how Shedeur went, I knew what was going to happen to me.
But one NFL player got his career destroyed all because he went to the Pro Bowl. Robert Edwards was the Patriots' first-round pick in 1998. As a running back, he had just finished a 1,000-yard season and set the record for consecutive games with a touchdown to start a career with 6. Man was looking like he was on his way to becoming one of the best backs in the entire league. But when he played at the 1999 Rookie Beach Bowl, something devastating happened. It was so bad that he almost had to have his leg amputated below the knee and was told by doctors that he might never walk again. But Edwards was back playing football again by 2002 and later had 2 more 1,000-yard seasons in the CFL.
He really made a decision that he would not quit. He wouldn't give up.
But we'll never know what might have been. Just like we'll always be wondering what Johnny Football could have been if it weren't for his love for late night benders and blow. It's because he infamously got cut by the Browns in his second season after numerous incidents, including going to Vegas, disguising a wig and a fake mustache while in concussion protocol, missing a mandatory treatment session. And after that, with football out of his life, Johnny went on a bender and decided that it was time to delete himself from Earth. But fate had other plans.
Like you truly expect that when you pull that trigger that will be the end of it. So yeah, it's something that's out of, my control, out of, anybody's control. And it really is probably more so than anything as I look back now, like an act of God, I have more of a purpose to be here and be in this earth.
Fortunately, Johnny is now sober, but he's still flying on Air Drake every once in a while. But at least his mom approves it.
And we're out the other night and my mom texts me and I pick up the phone and I FaceTime her, I'm with Drake. And just the smile on her face whenever she knows I'm in such good company around great people. She texts me right after and she's like, I know you're the happiest and safest you could ever be. Tell Drake I love him. Have fun.
But Johnny Manziel's former teammate, Josh Gordon, crashed out even worse. Like Johnny, Josh Gordon was that dude. Despite being one of the best receivers in the game and even leading the league in receiving yards that one year in 2013, Josh had a terrible secret.
I've used alcohol many occasions, Xanax many occasions, cocaine several occasions, marijuana most of my life, codeine, cough syrup, promethazine, very prevalent from where I'm from. It's what I grew up.
Damn, bro did pretty much everything. He only played in 11 games over 4 years at one point because of his love for the cocoa.
I'm in love with the cocoa.
But what was your reaction?
I was heartbroken because his story are just so similar to where my life would have gone.
Eventually, Gordo ended up winning a Super Bowl with the Chiefs after getting another chance by the league, but he was never the same. That was sad. But this next player messed up his career because of what he saw on TV.
DraftKings.
Oh yeah, you know where this is going. As you probably already know, Calvin Ridley was going through it, physically, mentally, and emotionally. But one day, as he was injured and watching TV, he saw a commercial for a sports betting app. So like what any bored dude would do, he downloaded it on his phone and put a couple $100 on his own team in a parlay. But when the NFL found out about it, they suspended him for 1 year. And what was even worse than that was that the parlay didn't even hit. But a 1-year suspension was more than Deshaun Watson got for allegedly aping scores of women in the massage room.
More women are coming forward in relation to Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson and accusations of inappropriate behavior in massage parlors.
Now, the key word here is allegedly, and Deshaun managed to settle the allegations. But it still landed him on the Browns, which is like having one foot in the NFL graveyard. And bro still hasn't played it down all year. But that's still not as crazy as a player who done something so bad he got deported. Trayvon Boykin was Russell Wilson's number 2 for a minute for the Seahawks in 2016 to 2017. Until he was charged with aggravated assault on his girlfriend and soon after that got cut by the team. After pleading guilty to the charges, dude never played another down in the NFL again, and after spending 3 years in the no escape estate, he now plays for a purple dinosaur team in Mexico. However, one player may have just ruined his career for being too zesty. Christian Wilkins was one of the better defensive linemen in the league, so for the Raiders to come out and cut him during training camp, bro would have had to do something totally out of bounds. And according to sources, that something was kissing another player on the head. And looking at Wilkins' history, being a little freaky is just how bro gets down.
Sometimes in the heat of battle, I guess, well, he inappropriately grabbed Curtis Samuel. Right in the face.
I'm taking a lot of heat for that. No one's letting me really live it down. A lot of things happen in the course of a football game. That if people seen or heard it, a lot of people wouldn't be too happy. But yeah.
So far, the Diddy antics have cost him $35.2 million in the remaining money on his contract. Crazy. But at least he didn't get cut for being too fat. There's heavies, and then there's this absolute fat unit, Desmond Watson, who was the heaviest player to ever be on an NFL roster at 464 pounds. But when the Bucks drafted him, they gave bro an ultimatum to cut the weight or get cut from the team. And bro never played a single down because he ate himself out of the league into an unrestricted fast food agent. Free agent. Bro can still be picked up by my team, but I can't say the same for this player who ruined his career after flipping his coach off. Now, the phrase die hero or live long enough to see yourself become a villain is fitting here, as we want to remember Earl Thomas for his time for lowering the boom as part of the Legion in Seattle, and not for giving his coach the finger.
He has Earl Thomas, who wasn't happy with his contract, and to bring this team together.
So at the time that you gave him the dirty bird, he said nothing.
No, we haven't spoken.
Do you regret giving Pete Carroll the dirty bird?
I don't regret my decision.
Or getting cut for beefing with your own teammates after one ass season in Baltimore. But at least Earl Thomas had a Hall of Fame caliber career, which is a lot more that could be said about Justin Blackmon. Dude peaked in college, and despite being the 5th overall draft pick, bro racked up as many suspensions as seasons played in the NFL. The last one was an indefinite suspension, and now, nearly 10 years later, he's trying to relive his glory days back on the campus of his alma mater, passed out drunk on the steps of the campus library. You can't even recognize bro anymore. That's rough. But some players just know when their run is up. Former Bills corner Vontae Davis was one of those players, but he took it to the extreme by calling it quits in the middle of a game, long before AB did it.
Did he say anything to you?
Did he say anybody did?
He didn't say nothing to nobody.
You left?
Yeah, you know as much as I know. I found out going in the second half of the game.
But no one knew that something much darker was going on with Vontae, because only 6 years later, he was found unalived in his home. Now, police found clues of what have probably happened to Vontae, but his true fate remains a mystery. But what isn't a mystery is how Antonio Brown quit the NFL in the only way AB can.
So he tossed his shoulder pads, stripped off his shirt and glove, threw those into the crowd, then ran across the field while the teams were still on the field, giving the crowd a peace out sign.
It's something else when that CTE kicks in, boy. But at least he didn't accidentally shoot his career, like Plexico Burress. Plexico was that dude, fresh off catching the game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl. But later that same year, He goes to a New York nightclub with a loaded Glock tucked in his pants, and something stupid happened.
And I'm walking up the stairs, and I miss a step, and my finger like hit right on the trigger. Like, it's like, what are the odds of that happening? When it happens, I don't even realize that, I'm shot.
Bro was immediately rushed to the hospital, but instead of being clowned for the accident, he caught a 2-year sentence in prison. By the time he came back, he had lost the prime years of his career. He never really returned to that Pro Bowl level. However, the way this next player ruined his career is too graphic to even show. We're talking about the infamous Ray Rice domestic violence incident in Vegas. But in a crazier plot twist than the NFL writers are surely cooking up for the season, Ray married the same girlfriend he beat up 6 weeks after this incident took place. What? And now, living happily and hopefully safer than ever. But one player ended his career in the most dark way possible. Netflix was salivating at the mouth. Alright, Aaron Hernandez needs no introduction, but how it all went down, the signs were all there, including allegedly stroking the sausage in a team meeting, which even got Gronk shook.
I may or may have not seen it live.
No one could predict some gooning would lead to first-degree murder, but apparently, Aaron was bisexual, according to a police investigation, and he didn't want his fiance's boyfriend leaking his secret, so he shot him and dumped his body at an industrial site. Bro was arrested, cut from the Patriots, and following his conviction and sentence of life in prison without parole, Aaron Hernandez then hung himself after. His brain was diagnosed with the markings of CTE after he passed. But lastly is this player who ruined his career all because he wanted to start a revolution. Following the deaths of several black men at the hands of police officers during the summer of 2016, tensions were high, and all of this extended to the gridiron. Some players used their large platforms to peacefully protest the police brutality they saw taking place around them. One of the first players to do this was 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick, who took a knee on the sideline during the national anthem. Little did he know at the time, but this action would end up costing him his career and nearly his life. As the weeks wore on and others joined him in kneeling, so too did the voices of those protesting the protest. This even included the president, who thought that all protesting players should be fired.
When somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that off the field right now, out, he's fired.
Now, as the public backlash grew louder, especially online, the NFL took notice. Although Kaepernick didn't do anything wrong, per the NFL's policy at the time, which required players to be on the sideline during the anthem but should, not must, stand during the national anthem. Then the NFL soon changed their policy to say that players and team personnel were required to stand during the national anthem, and those who chose not to stand were required to remain in the locker room. Now this clearly spoke out where the NFL stood on the whole thing. Combine this with the new incoming 49er coaching staff, and the guy who helped take the 49ers to the Super Bowl only 4 years earlier was about to be cast out. After leaving the 49ers, Kaepernick went unsigned during the 2017 offseason, despite players and coaches saying that he's clearly a starter in this league. And despite constantly continuing to work out, Colin didn't receive another NFL tryout, let alone an offer, providing further proof that the NFL is a business first and a sport second.